friend or my colleague since 2007. But some people have never seen a copy. They don't know what is in it. But it's supposed to work for us. The time has come for us to read and to seek redress and to help others who are helpless, the voiceless, the vulnerable. We must be the ambassadors to end gender-based violence. So I want to say thank you to the ministry and all of us who are pushing this agenda. And I'm Dr. Charity Binka. I'm the chair of the African Women Leaders Network. And we are very privileged to be working with the ministry and all other partners.
Thank you. The hands are multiplying, putting children first. I have two young ones. In there, then I'll come to our traditional leader. The microphone got elsewhere. I'll come back to you. Please, let's listen over there. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jenny Samson, and my question is, how do you intend to change the mindset of the Ghanaian society?
Thank you. Quick and snappy. And then there is the other young hand there.
Good afternoon. I am Al-Hassan Abdul Salam. My question is to Dr. Paul Kumi. We are talking about mental health and the access to therapy. How accessible is it to us, especially as children? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like how snappy it was. Madam, we'll come to you because the mic is coming. Since you have the mic, yes, Ambassador.
So in a society where individuals sometimes struggle for public resources and amenities, and where certain people decide to pick on you for being positively unique or gentle, one's self-control and ability to maintain decorum is tested. How do we as boys bring a clear distinction or balance between gentility and positive masculinity?
Thank you. It's beginning to sound like the earlier question. Okay.
Thank you. Every speaker every leader highlighted the importance of traditional leaders coming on board. So it tells you then how important that we also need to take this away. My question is, in what specific ways can the traditional leaders collaborate with the leaders of this initiative? Reason being that we are down the value chain and we need to make sure that the impact is being felt. So to the point around the plan, I would encourage that they include outcomes that will define successful initiatives in those areas, right? So I sit in as a traditional leader and also as a leader in the corporate world looking after women businesses. So this initiative is equally in my interest to ensure that whilst we promote our women, we bring on board the men as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Capturing gender mainstreaming, and now we are talking. I've seen Safia somewhere. Safia, this relates to one of your presentations. I don't know whether you'd like to give us a quick response when we come to getting the response. There is one young hand in there, and then we'll go to the back thereafter.
So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My question is, what role does emotional intelligence play in maturity?
When we used to have A-levels, this is one of the questions for general paper. Thank you. Yes, Auntie Miriam. Oh, okay, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
This is just a contribution to the actions that we can take to see results whilst we work on the bigger outcomes. I am leading a regional project to end violence against women and girls, and positive masculinity is part of the conversation in West and Central Africa. And one of the quickest ways for us to start addressing this issue is to start from home. These things that we are talking about have been learnt over years. And so if each person here can change something in how they are raising their children, how they communicate to them, we would start a new trend. We don't have to wait for a national movement. Let's start from home.
Thank you very much. At least I've seen that some are contributions and not just questions. So let's pick a good sprinkle of it, and then where there are questions, we'll later tackle them. Yes. Please give the mic to.
Great, thank you. So my name is Famous Emerging Public Leaders of Ghana. So far, I think I've observed a trend that is many of the presentations to the room have alluded to the fact that there is data supporting issues of violence against women. However, anytime it comes to the men, it's like a perception that, okay, men, society expects cultural backgrounds and all of that, but the question is there any proven research? Is there any proven data? And if we don't have that, how then do we solve these systemic issues? Because many presentations we've had, both from the World Health Organization and in the local context, Ghana for that matter, the number of men who suffer, the number of women, sorry, who suffer violence. Now, since today is a day for men, positive masculinity, I'm concerned particularly whether we are just having a conversation just by perceiving, or there is actually a proven research that tells us that, okay, these are the number of young men or boys who go through violence as well, and how do they also come out to, speak up on some of these issues, and also how can we also help them in terms of becoming better men in society. So thank you.
Thank you very much. The questions seem to be having a convergence, so we are trying to pick a number of them.
Good afternoon. Please, Mr. Amakwe, my question is, I think I'm glad that the security agencies are here. And I'm a security personnel too. I've been involved in so many cases in local police stations, like district police stations like Jamestown, Kunkumba, Kanishi police station, Choko police station, Kolebu police station. Reason why I'm mentioning these police stations is these police stations or these district police stations, they have violence areas. And these violence are happening every day and every night. Nothing shows up. When the victims reported, nothing. You see an investigator who is in the matter, chasing a wife of victim, chasing a husband of victim. Nothing goes on. And some of the cases, I myself have intervened. Still, nothing goes on. So you see that some of the victims, they don't want to even report. So I'm glad that I'm here and I'm witnessing what is going on. I want to assure myself, under the Ministry of Gender, once the minister herself is here, to assure me, how are we going to strengthen the security agency, especially the police service, to maintain peace and order?
Thank you. I think by the time we are wrapping up, our minister will speak, so that one I'll get to her later. Yes. Please go on, sir.
Thank you. My name is Essa. This is just contribution to what the Chief Director said. I think with the way forward, there's one thing we need to learn from past experience so we don't end up repeating them. Issues of masculinity have always been important but have been sidelined. So if we come to the realization that we need to bring it on board, I think we don't run with it as a single activity. I think this is a launch, so we can focus on men and masculinity. But I think femininity itself has to be brought on board as part of this. My reason is simple. When we attempted to run with femininity, we failed. And we've come back to realize that we need to add masculinity to it. So when we repeat the same thing, we are going to fail. The issue is, the issues of femininity, I think the High Commissioner from Australia made a statement that men are not the problem. That's the genesis of this whole thing. If you pick one gender and make that the problem, you never get a solution because that gender begins to be defensive and you don't proceed. Let's attack the thing from the societal point of view. So we're running with masculinity alone. We may not achieve as much as we want. I think we need to begin to see how we can engage, right? Because by engaging, you begin to know the vulnerability of the men, boys versus the women, girls. We don't assume. When you pick one side, you assume for that.
Okay.
So let's get both on board, and that is how we see it from here. All the other issues discussed here, we can find equivalent of it on the femininity side. I think the clinical psychologist raised an issue, for instance. Just one last example. So he was talking about if he has a sibling who is just a year or a year and a half apart, and he's 26, the family will be expecting him to, in the next few years, go look for money to help the family. Did we look at the girl's side? The female sibling will be expected to be married. The stress that comes with that, if you look at one side, you ignore the other one. So we need to bring everybody on board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Essa. And fortunately, we have both genders well represented in this room. So even though we are concentrating on the men, we are still having a joint conversation. You can see the underlying currents as they flow up and down. We really appreciate that input coming from you. Please, you are in the middle. We'll pick a gentleman and then a young man.
My name is Hola Kwashi. I'm an investigator with Shraj. And we handle cases of child maintenance. And then when the fathers are brought in to be probed on issues of not providing for the children, some of the times you realize that the fathers are actually doing what they need to do, but then there are unrealistic expectations on the fathers. You know that in taking care of a child, the law states that both parents need to provide for the child. But then all the burden is now placed on the father to provide for the child. So we need to look at that aspect because the mental state of the father, whenever they come in and they are trying to express them, so you can see the visible frustration on their faces, like they are not doing anything, but they are doing their best economically. So thank you. Thank you very much.
That is shared experience, and I've heard a lot of that one too. So the issue of appreciation, even in the poetry presentation, we heard it. We mark the negatives more and forget about the other side. Thank you for bringing that one up. Yes.
Thank you. Please, my name is Joseph Kwesi, and my question is it okay for men to show intimidation in the case of trying to put someone on the right path, mostly dealing with girls and women?
Thank you. This is another A-level question. Oh. So, the docs, if you are taking notes, Dr. Ukubekwe, another A-level question has appeared on the paper. So, one of the very technical issues to handle. Yeah, we'll take 3 more, and then we get to wrap up, and then we'll listen to our Honorable Minister. But I think we've gotten to a point where we've realized that no single agency can do it alone. And we are projecting this as a men's conference or engagement, but it's also so much about collaboration from our women and then ladies. So we want to bear this one in mind. I saw a hand there.
My name is Keziana, and my question is, how can men support each other's mental health? Because they all feel like they are strong. So how am I coming to support you?
We can see that the A-level questions are coming from the center. Thank you, Kezia. 2 last ones, and then we are getting to wrap up. Otherwise, when I close it from here, you don't get to respond to what is said here. Oh, there's a hand at the back, oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Then we are good. Oh, I got an afterthought hand.
Thank you. My name is Eddie Omanson, Fire Service. I want all the presenters to help us summarize what exactly is it about masculinity we want to tell our boys. Because for me, I can argue it out that whatever it is that we are going to do, the world will not be fair to men. So I think in order that we do not breed men who grow up to be weaker than the generation we have ahead of us, just because we want to be positive, we need to tell our men, our young boys, what exactly it is we want them to take home to be big men in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Immediately started speaking, it reminded me of one poem, Desiderata. So let me come back here. We get to respond to a sprinkling of them that you can.
Thank you very much. One that really caught my attention is how do we change the mindset of Ghanaians? Ajay, bakumpo yehuano na, but it is a very fantastic point. You know, the collective mindset of a people. That is where we have to tie into what we do at the micro level and what we do at the macro level. There is a way of we meeting this time to talk about this issue. There is a way that traditional authorities will convene at the local level. The way institutions at the national level would also engage us. Parliament, every level of our national life must be involved. It is by this that we will eventually be able to really change the mindset one after the other. Yes, we're encouraging families, mothers, fathers, faith communities to all be on board. And as a process, with time, we'll begin to mindset bit by bit. Then what role does emotional intelligence play in maturity? I think to be mature in the right sense of the word maturity is to be emotionally intelligent. So it is at the heart of being mature. An instance, I mean, you know that in life, you don't get everything straight. Life is not a straight path. You can win some, you can lose some. But when you lose and the world is coming to an end for you, there is a problem. So yes, it will help you to appreciate the fact that you don't get everything you want when you want it. And so you can delay gratification, work hard, and still get what you want. Yes. Is there data specific to men and boys in experiencing GBV in Ghana? Well, I haven't come across any specifically on boys and men. But there is data that also talk about the experiences of men as victims and as perpetrators. Yes, there is a whole 2016 study by the Gender Ministry, DSS, that talked about that. Okay. One other thing I want to also, from Mr. Issa, if I got the name right, making a balanced presentation of the issue. I think it is fantastic. But we must also be careful not to balance it up because it is politically correct to balance it up. If you look at gender-based violence, perpetration of gender-based violence, overwhelmingly, women are the victims. And so in addressing that, you need to be very fair to what is on the ground. You need to have more intervention. You need to specifically address those things. There is a way that and not necessarily have a symmetrical approach that equalization of perpetration. No. So at that level, we would have to be nuanced. In addressing, I think, with what he put across. So I think, yes, whatever you do, the world will not be fair to men. That is not correct. Straight on. That is not accurate. Okay? That is misconception, is stereotypical. We must cut. But there is, when you are not appreciated, when whatever you do is as if you are being marked and your marking scheme will get this grade, F, like that. It is very painful. So in as much as I can understand the frustration men go through for not being recognized, for not being appreciated for what we do on a daily basis, it is not the basis to say that whatever men do, the world will not appreciate. But men are in control, so what are we talking about, really? If the world doesn't appreciate men, it will not put men in the offices that men occupy. So there's a kind of contradiction of terms here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. At least we had the traditional leadership also coming and having a representation. And fortunately, some are not just within the traditional leadership, but in corporate leadership and all. How do we take advantage of some of these ones so that
I think
we get into a lot more crevices than we are doing?
They've been wonderful resource. I mean, I know without traditional authorities' participation in our campaign to pass the domestic violence law, for instance, it would have been a struggle. But we must also own up that there are aspects of our customs and practices that need to be fine-tuned. Okay, we have to, and they are the best people to do that for us. There are still harmful widowhood rights that are going on. There are still some other practices that do not inure to the well-being of both men and women that we call custom, or traditions and all of that. I think they're in the best place to do that. And the Constitution grants them that power to look at all these things. Happy that they are on board with us. I will continue to be on board with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I mentioned Safia earlier on. I don't know whether she's still in the room, because one gender issue was raised that she would have loved to tie it in. She's been working on child marriage for some time, and when we are looking at some of the norms and then some of the issues in relation to how we are managing the gender issues, it comes up so well. How now some of the things we used to take up, people are now consciously being helped to adjust it. And UNFPA, together with UNICEF, are all joining together and supporting it actively within the child marriage setting. And it's working because it's the traditional leaders who have been brought actively into that conversation. So we know the traditional leaders are very important if we have to make progress. There is one difficult thing, but because we don't have somebody directly from gender, DOPSU, I don't know how we handle it, but it's a concern that keeps coming up. The concern that keeps coming up. So maybe at a later time, as to how they address the concerns that come up within their corners. We want to thank you very much. It's been a long day, but the interest is as keen as when we began, and it shows that we all want our well-being. At this point in time, we are going back to our Honorable Minister for closing remarks. I know in her comments she shared a lot, but she will still add a bit of a sprinkling to it so that we know where we are proceeding from. And then Mr. Isaac Mensah will be coming in with the vote of thanks. And then we are getting ready to start immediate action after here as we disperse.
I think he deserves a bigger round of applause. Oh, do it better for him since morning. He's kept us awake and alive and, interested in all the discussions. Do a final one for him. And do a bigger one for yourselves. Aiko, you have done so well. So well. This one, if it was a football match or maybe some movie, they would have said it was oversubscribed. And we owe it all to you. We are so grateful that you've joined us in making this historic moment come to stay. It is a conversation that is not going to end today. It is going to continue. It started long ago, but we've given it a formal touch. People have dreamt about it, talked about it, and today we see it come to pass. And so it's a conversation that has to continue. Positive masculinity has a lot of positivity in it that we can't just let it slide. And so we're going to continue. The assurance I'm giving us is that as a ministry, we are not going to rely on our effort to mobilize resources. When I say resources, I mean both human, technical, and logistical resources, including financial, to ensure that the conversation keeps going. Already, the UNFPA has indicated they want to continue with us. And then the Australian High Commission is also coming on board for the subsequent meetings. There are substructure or some structures that are going to be activated to reach out to the various regions and then districts or communities. So these areas are, or these donors and development partners are going to support us to ensure that the conversation keeps going. Every resource person that has been here, Adolf used to say, we the women. Adolf, I lie. Adolf used to say, we the women, and those were the days of DV. As if after the law was passed, we all went to sleep a little. Okay, so with the happenings now, we all know that if we're sleeping, we have to wake up. And if we are awake and we are walking slowly, we need to, speed up. And so we will walk faster together, holding each other's hands through it all. I'm grateful for every single one of you, resource persons, those who supported in the organization. Where is my gender people? Gender directorate. Oh, you see how they were fast in raising their hands? Because their work is coming to an end for today. Applaud yourselves too.